Let's talk about what it is to be a good trainer for your dog. So sometimes, in fact a lot of the time, what our dogs need us to be is actually happy and confident and flexible in the way we train. Think about the last time you put yourself in a position of learning, whether you were learning a new instrument, sport, or a new language. What kind of teacher did you have? Did they listen to you? Did they watch you practice? Did they tell you what to do? Did they give good feedback, particularly when you got it wrong? Or did they just give up on you? Were they impatient? So last year I had a guitar teacher I was trying to learn, and I went for somebody well recommended. He was a nice guy, but that's not everything. So at first I really enjoyed it. He talked about all the things I would be able to achieve and would show off his skills, and to almost sort of leave me ambitious to get there. But quite quickly I realised I wasn't picking it up very quick, especially how much he'd like me to be picking it up. So I spent more of the lessons watching him play than actually practicing myself. The feedback he gave me was very repetitive, and it was always just practice when I'm gone, not in the session. And even though I was making progress, he didn't ever really acknowledge it or appreciate it. He had no patience, and there was no positivity of the lesson. So of course I quite quickly lost enjoyment and I stopped rebooking. So when training your dog, think about what you'd expect from a teacher. You want them to listen, so listen to your dog. Know what they're trying to tell you. Know what their abilities are, and of course appreciate the little wins. Celebrate them. Be flexible. Don't ever set out to just learn a whole repertoire of behaviours, but aim to start them. Don't put pressure on yourself or your dog. Makes it a lot easier and becomes actually a fun. It's just game time. When you start to set out to have fun, training becomes a lot more than just a chore. And when it comes to something maybe you don't want to train, break it into small bits and mix it up with something you do really enjoy. So do something fun, then train a little bit, the challenging bit, but just a small section. Then when you start to build on these small sections, it becomes a lot easier and the challenge is gone. If you work on your communication too, so the way you're showing your dog what you want, it becomes a lot easier for them to learn. It's clearer, it's understandable. So luring is always a great way to start. It makes it really, really clear. But when you take away that lure, don't go from 100% using a lure to suddenly just using the verbal command, because they won't be able to understand. They won't be able to generalise that behaviour. So sometimes you need to phase it out. In fact, you pretty much always need to phase it out, especially when using a gesture as well. So you're just finding a different way to show them. Find the areas that your dog's struggling, break it down, make it small sections. That way it becomes a lot easier. For example, with spin, if you're teaching them to go round using a lure and they don't want to turn, just reward that small section, even if that's just 10% of the body movement that you're looking for. If you reward that, it becomes easier to build upon. You'll watch their confidence grow, and the best moment is genuinely when you see their brain go, light bulb moment, I now know what you're trying to ask. And then it becomes easy. Challenge over. So you always want to be a friendly and approachable teacher, trainer. So you don't want to tell them off. No scolding. Training needs to be fun and rewarding. It's always got to be positive. If you use fearful methods, then there's always a negative effect that comes into it. We don't want our dogs to do it because they have to, but because they're having fun and they really want to. They need to be enjoying themselves. So I'd recommend having a little think about the last time you tried to teach your dog something. Think about what went well and what maybe you could improve on. Why didn't it go as far as you wanted? How could you make it clearer for them? If you break it down, even in your own head, ready for next time, you'll suddenly find that it becomes a lot easier. It takes the pressure away and it just begins a new path and progress begins.